Welcome to AP Workshops, welcome to the next instalment in our Living With series. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll give you the Gen 1 Tuono. So welcome back to AP Workshops, welcome back to the Living With series. Today we're going to be talking about the Gen 1 Tuono. So I've got a little bit of an affinity with the Gen 1 Tuono, seeing as this was the first bike I ever rode with that big V990 V-twin Rotax engine. This was the bike that actually fired my inspiration and fired my, I'll tell you the story as I'm going along, but it fired my love for these particular bikes. So this bike here is a, I think it's a 2004 black frame, quite a rare thing with a black frame, but this belongs to Ben, so quick sweep across. Thanks Ben, you're the man! So Ben's been with us for a long time, and he's a very, very cool cat, lives locally. He's actually graciously said we could borrow his bike. Another quick shout out to Richard, sorry, I don't know if you like Rich or not, who sent us a message on Instagram this morning. If you want to send us a message on Instagram and let us know what's going on, if you've got any suggestions for films, please feel free, no problems whatsoever. Remember, you can get in touch with us on all forms of social media, it's absolutely no problem whatsoever. But he suggested a Gen 1 Tuono, and guess what we've just managed to do? Thanks very much, mate. We'll also have a look at some big bore stuff later on, mate. I really appreciate your feedback. So I'm going to stop rattling on because I sound like an idiot, and we'll go and get stuck in.
Okay, let's go.
Right, so welcome to my favourite Aprilia ever. Yes, I'm not going to lie, I absolutely love a Gen 1 Tuono. So I was rattling on earlier on about this is the bike that I don't know where I am. Oh God. Oh, I tell you what I'm going to do. Here we go. Help. So I'm a little bit, I won't lie, I'm a little bit lost around here, but it's been some time since I've been around this neck of the woods. So I'm going to have to make up the road test route a little bit this time out. So but like I said, while we're sitting here rattling on and waiting for traffic lights and stuff, I'm going to give you a bit of a lowdown on my history with this particular bike. So I was working for Aprilia UK, and I got the opportunity to go and ride one of these during dinner time, and I'd been working for the company for probably, I don't know, I think probably a few weeks maybe. And a guy by the name of Paul Walker, who was I believe he was some marketing and press guy that we dealt with. The guy said, yeah, here's one of these bikes, go and ride it. So I was like, do you know what? Yeah, I'm going to have some of that. I went out of the door, put my riding gear on, and this thing like basically just wheeled down the road. I got off and I couldn't talk because I'd never ridden anything quite so crazy as this, as it was absolutely mental. So there's basically, it's an RSV chassis, it's an RSV running gear, it's an RSV engine, not detuned or anything along those lines on the Gen 1, but it's just got high bars, so it's absolutely bonkers. Traditionally in the series, in the industry, people would tend to sort of just detune a flat bar bike or a naked street bike from the derivative of the sort of sport bike that it came from, but they didn't do this. They just didn't do it on this bike. They just put flat bars on it and just said, yeah, there you go, have yourself a good time. So they were just nuts. Let's nerd out a little bit. So this is the V990 RP engine, the same engine they put in 2003, just 2003 only RSV. So it's got what they call the NG gearbox. The NG gearbox is basically what it stands for, new gears, so effectively new gear ratios. The new gear ratios, I believe, were sort of second and fifth or something along those lines, and it was kind of, I can't remember which ones they are now. It's been some time. Oh, these handles as well. Ben's got this set up nice. Oh, love it. Hi, bots. Daily. Is this a day? Can I live with this on a daily basis? Yeah, of course I can. I'm not going to lie to you because I absolutely love these bikes. They're brilliant. And I know to go left down here. There we go. So the V990 RP NG engine. So the engine number on this will read V990 RP, 6 digits, and then it'll have NG afterwards. The NG standing for the new gear ratios. Like I said, same as the 2003 only RSV. Twin plug, kind of massively aggressive. Well, that's not massively aggressive, but just sort of compared to the Gen 2, it's kind of like the... Woohoo! Oh my life, I love this bike. So the differences between the Gen 2 and the Gen 1 engine, the RP and the RR, can give you a bit of a reason why I kind of dig this engine. So the engine's quite... Where's this guy going? So twin plug cylinder head on this bike, whereas the RR engine, the Gen 2, has got a twin plug the RR has the single plug, the RP has the twin plug. This is the most profound effect I think I've ever seen, or the most profound statement of technology that makes people understand why. So there's a very, very rudimentary sort of, or it's not ancient rudimentary or anything along those lines, that's rudeness, but basically there's kind of like an 8-bit processor in the Gen 1 which gets a reading from the crank. If you imagine that there's notches on the flywheel, so every 60 degrees of crank rotation, the 8-bit processor in the ECU gets a reading to tell the ECU where it is. On the Gen 2, it's a lot busier. There's basically the ECU is a lot more complicated. It gets a reading every 10 degrees of crank rotation from the flywheel. That means that it's basically a lot more complicated, a lot more involved. It's the processor is quicker and it can take and process more information quicker. Therefore, it can plot a lot better mapping. That said, it changes the characteristic of the engine. It doesn't feel quite so aggressive and quite so harsh. It's much smoother and much sort of more refined. Not necessarily a good thing in one respect, but a good thing in another, because that's progress. It means you've got control over the bike for emissions. It means you've got control over the bike for things like throttle control, smoothness. If you're going to race it means you've got a better engine and a better place to start from. What's this? Let's just be careful here. A better place to start from. So that's the whole reason why it was kind of that's progress. Trouble is, I'm not into progress that much. I quite like the old silly mental bikes like this. So we're going quick, and you know what? The screen's really good. It's absolutely, it protects us. I can feel the wind is basically, it's right above my head, the wind blast. So it's really safe along in that respect. Which makes life so much easier if you're going to do miles and miles of riding on it. But it's all the same running gear as RSV, so there's just tons and tons of stuff available on the market for these. There's a massive following for the Tuono. It's just nutty. 2003 it won the Naked Street Bike of the Year, the MCN Naked Street Bike of the Year. And I can absolutely get it. Why, do you know what? I'm going to turn around here and go back. So cold this morning. Things I do for this YouTube channel, it's cold, so cold. Plus the fact it's just roadworks down there, I know it is. So here we go, I'm going to turn around here. I'm sure Ben's sitting at home now. Going, where's my bike? Yeah. Oh, lovely. So we're just bimbling along. just bimbling along. Day-to-day traffic. And it's just comfortable. High bars. The rear sets aren't too cramped. I'm 5'10", 5'11", something along those lines. It's not too cramped. The rear sets don't come back too hard and too far back and too far high or anything like that, so it's quite comfortable. You can deal with it on a daily basis. If you have a look on the levers, then the levers, the brake levers and the clutch levers, they've got little eccentric adjusters. I mean, I don't I mean, they don't wear funny coloured waistcoats or anything along those lines, but they're basically eccentric. You can actually adjust them to sort of suit yourself, which makes the life that little bit easier. I think what we'll do as well is sometime in the future we'll do a little bike setup thing where you can use these bikes, or you can use the kit that you've got on these bikes that people don't realise they've got. We see it every day when they're coming through the workshop, but if you have a quick look, there's like a little 5mm Allen key you can undo, and it just actually adjusts the toe pegs so you can get to just much more comfortable. It's a really nice, easy way of being able to make that bike fit you, and it's surprising how many people kind of don't know that or don't realise that you can actually just sort of, there's so much basic adjustment that you can do just to set the bike up before you even ride it, just to make that bike comfortable, make it yours. These have got all of this kind of thing on, so there's lever adjustment that you can use on these on your bar, there's footrest adjustment, that kind of thing. So there's, in fact, we'll do that when we get back in, because that's brilliant. I absolutely love that. I was speaking to a friend of mine, Pesky. Pesky was one of the guys we used to go racing with years and years ago. Speaking to him last night, and he's doing a little bit of looking after some younger riders at the moment as well at British Superbike. And some of the things that we've kind of gone through when we were looking after Pesky was basically he went through yesterday, which was such a buzz to hear, because it's like I actually did make a difference, which is so good. But even he said he was surprised about how little people adjust their bikes to suit themselves, which is incredible. So, you know, brilliant. Let's have a look. I know what we're going to do. We're going to wait for it. Yeah, that guy's looking confusion. Oh, look at that. Fucking shit smeared all over the road. Damn. Oh, tell you what. That mud smeared across the road then. My bumhole just bit chunks out the seat foam. Oh my god. That is so scared. Fortunately I was going, and I could adjust my course, and I could adjust my speed, and I could adjust my speed and direction, because I could see within the distance that I could see, to be clear, of course. Fast bikes, but you know what, as a 1000cc road bike, I'm pretty convinced that these bikes are unbeatable. Just for loads of fun, just for fun, just for loads, just for kicks, just brilliant. They're not overwhelmingly fast. Yes, they are. But they're not V4 fast, which is just brutal, and I mean absolute brutal speed. Those things are so fast, it's incredible. It blows my mind that these things are just, you got to remember that I've been riding bikes for,
it's been 84 years.
As I'm sure a lot of you have. I'm nothing special or anything like that, but I've been riding bikes for a long time. And when I was sort of first introduced to bikes in the 80s, there was nothing even close to that fast. Handles, goes, not overwhelmingly fast, just really, really good. So we're going to go into town now, so we've got to slow things down a little bit, just sort of so we can not start right. No, Christ, that guy was flashing his lights at me. I thought I was in trouble.
That's the sound of the police.
Awesome. So we're going to slow it down back into town. Like I said, man, high bars, puppy dog, high bars, reasonable footrests, Smooth fueling. Now Ben looks after his fueling. Ben looks after this bike. I know he looks after this bike because, like I said, we've known him for some time. He's he's a way cool guy, but he looks after it once a year. He just brings it in. We give it a tune-up. I think he does his own oil and filters kind of thing. So but we give it a tune-up which smooths out that fueling low down. Because you can smooth down or smooth out that fueling low down in the rev range, then what tends to happen is if you balance the throttle bodies, it smooths out that low down sort of grumpiness that a V-twin can have. It's not an Aprilia thing, it's a V-twin thing. That's it, plain and simple. If you try and run the thing in fourth gear below 2000 RPM, it's always going to complain. It doesn't matter what bike you're on, they're always going to complain. But basically this bike's fuels nicely because it's set up and it's looked after. This is one thing that there aren't many people in the country that know how to do this and set up the bikes properly. That's the difference. The only reason being is because effectively the information. So there's people there looking at me thinking, what's he talking to himself for?
I'm crazy.
Oh, the strange bike guy is talking to himself. There aren't many people in the country that know how to do it properly. In fact, I've seen a guy, I think he's a Dutch guy, on YouTube showing you how to do this completely wrong. I think it was something like 40,000 views on this video. It's completely wrong. Absolutely wrong on so many levels. It's no wonder people complain about the low down fueling on the bikes. Christ almighty. If they're watching YouTube to try and work out how to do it, which I do, I'll try and work out a lot of how to do things from YouTube, but this guy's showing you completely wrong. There aren't many people that know how to do it properly. That find your guy, look after him when you realise he knows how to do it properly. Look after them, they can do it nicely, and it makes the world of difference to your bike. Look, so 2,500 RPM just rolling on the throttle, smooth as butter. Like I said, Ben looks after his bike, so that's all good. Okay. There you go. 2,000, get roll on again. Smooth as silk, mate. It's just a beautiful bike. It's a really good bike. Well done, Ben. A quick shout out to Ben's boy Angus as well, mate. I'm glad you're doing well, and Dad's telling me that you fancy going for a ride on a mini bike as well. Listen, mate, if you need a ride on a mini bike, you come and talk to Griff. Bring Dad with you if you want to. He'll look after you when you're doing that. But if you fancy it, come and see us, mate. We'll come and give you a go on our mini bike, so you can go and have a thrash round on that, because we got lots of that kind of stuff. So big shout out to Angus, mate. I hope you're doing well. Come and see us when you get a chance. Get Dad to come and drop you down, and we can come and fix some bikes and play with some bike stuff, and that'd be pretty cool. Right, so back to the bike anyway. Low down fueling again, because we're basically stuck in traffic. There you go, 2,000 RPM. I've just got to look round the camera a little bit, but yeah, back to over 2,000. Second gear just pulls away beautifully. Get your bike set up. The gearing helps. 1644. Try that. We've tried it. It runs really, really nice. The only thing that we have found, if you're going to run 1644 gearing, is that you've got to be mindful. You've got to be mindful of the tyre size that you're using. So this bike came standard with a 180/55 or a 190/50. If you change the tyre profile or the height of the tyre, so basically if you change if you deviate from that, you have to be a little bit careful. Sometimes what can happen is the bike tyre can rub on the inside of the swinging arm, or the tyre can rub on the chain. This is the bit that you've got to be a little bit careful of. So 1644, usually with 180/55 tyre, or 190/50, which is standard. I prefer the 180/55 myself, because it tends to feel like it steers a little bit nicer. So if you ever wanted to sort of depending on what you want to do. If you want it to sort of steer and pitch in a little bit nicer, then a 180/55 tends to work that little bit nicer. But if you want it to sort of not concentrating on the road, sorry Dad, he shouts at me for that one. Yeah, so if you want it to pitch in, if you want it to ride or steer a little bit more precisely, then run the 180/55 rather than the 190. And what you'll find is, like I said, it does tend to steer a little bit nicer. Now, it is an RSV chassis. Now, the thing is with an RSV chassis, it's an RSV chassis with high bars on it, so it tends to pull your weight a little bit further back. So the weight bias just runs a little bit further back. Now, if your weight bias runs a little bit further back, what you can find is that it doesn't steer quite as nicely as you want it. This is just glorious, this one. And I'm back in the room. So basically, if you want it to steer a little bit quicker and sort of pitch in a little bit more confidently into the island, then a 180/55 does tend to work that little bit better than a flatter 190/50. That always helps, especially, like I said, if you're going to use come on then, little bit, there you go, beautiful. Just help the guys. Yes. Learner drivers, man, give them a little bit of respect. We're all learners once. Let's just give them a little bit of little bit of space. They're beautiful. Rolling on about 180/55 tyres, 120/70 front, 180/55 tyre on a Tuono with high bars, makes it steer that little bit nicer. It's just so much nicer. Just works so much better, I find, anyway. Mind your gearing, your one, like I said, your 1644. Just make sure you've got enough room. You can usually get away with a standard chain on that, but like I said, sometimes tyres can be a bit of a problem. If you're in any doubt, just run a 110 link chain. Then if you want to run something slightly bigger, no problems, dead straightforward. I just think it works better. It works really nice. The mirrors are usually, you can just see you. If you can see what's going on here, you can just see my elbows in the mirrors. I don't think I've ever had a bike where you can actually see completely, unless you sort of run with your elbows in like this all the time. Which I don't. I'm sort of a bit of an old two-stroke racer, so I've got, if you imagine, sort of elbows out like this kind of thing. So just how it works, just how it always has done. Can't see through the mirrors, but the seat's comfortable, plenty of room, it's dead roomy. Can't fault it. Amazing. So listen, I'm going to sign off now before I get back to Ben's house. Thank you very much for everything that you've done for us in the past. I really, really appreciate it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you're not already done so. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for all the massive kind feedback. Keep them coming. We really appreciate it. It is absolutely just such a joy to see people enjoying this kind of thing. We have such a laugh doing it. It is really, really funny. We've got no right to enjoy it quite as much as we do, which is so brilliant. But thank you very much. You can contact us, sales@apworkshops.co.uk. You can get in touch with us, like I said before, on all manner of social media. No problems whatsoever. We're really happy to help however we can. Please, thank you very much once again. Enjoy. Take care of yourself. Be safe. There's still in some crazy times, but look after each other. Take care. Talk to you soon.